nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me tonight is Rafa, Robert, Matt. Royce may be dropping by to tell us about the adventures in Pittsburgh. Let me just introduce the real team, America's team here, the Denver Broncos, who are playing tonight. They're up. We're going to be talking about that football. We're not talking about the Cowboys. And Robert, which team do you support? Colts, Texans, Miami, Vikings?
Skull.
Whatever. It's like whatever the flavor of ice cream is, Robert's team is. So. So for those keeping track at home, the Broncos in a punt fest are up 3-0, and, well, we're on pace for 11 to 10 again.
Pass.
Oh man.
Robert, how are you? It's been a couple days.
I'm doing well. Actually, I'm slightly struggling, as you're well aware. I went to that Brazilian steakhouse, and I'm 10 pounds of steak. Gosh, it's nuts. But overall, pretty good.
So you ate a lot of salads, what you're telling us?
Yeah, exactly. 1 or 2 pieces of lettuce. Some cheese.
Yeah, it always cracks me up that, every once in a while work will take us, and people will be like, I'm going to the salad bar. I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Rafa, how are you? Last week you were out traveling the world of Texas, so happy that you had safe returns. Any interesting stories that you can tell, either PG or semi-PG-ish?
Well, I survived a hit and run, no deaths. Someone ran into me, I swiped me, and took off after my visit at Permian High School. So go Mojo, and then right before I went to an event that evening. So that was kind of the highlight of that. But it was a good trip, long trip. I was there, started in Abilene, finished in Odessa, came back 5-hour drive on Friday, and then hit the sack. Got to sleep most of the weekend, so I'm glad to be back. But I'm hitting the road again next week, so I'll probably be remote next week in Laredo.
They hit your nice car?
Oh, they hit the nice Enterprise rental car.
Oh no,
no.
So not so bad then.
Not so bad. Glad I have insurance. It has insurance.
DJ Matt, how are you? Spinning on the I was going to say wheels, but I know that's
always
too
spinning
old.
on the drum.
Ones and twos.
Doing good. Just watching all the madness going on right now in the USL. So just having fun.
So one observation that I have before we get to the how was your week here is the season takes forever to get here. And then the first part of the season's like, hey, wait. And then next thing you know, mid-season's here, and then you blink and hey, it's playoffs. And I'm just like, holy cow, where did the season go? Because San Antonio FC's got 2 matches left. One away this Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Time, and then next week they get to face the reigning champions at this point, Orange County, in the final home game, or the final home regular season game for that here. So playoffs, I'm assuming if you're watching this, San Antonio FC's clinched the best record in all of USL for the first time. They have the opportunity to set tie the most wins record. They have the opportunity to get the most points if they win these next 2 matches against Birmingham Legion and Orange County. So A lot to talk about, obviously. Last week, unfortunately, schedules, life, kids, jobs, unfortunately prevented us from getting together to have sit at the table. So, Rafa, what's your thoughts on the last 2 weeks for San Antonio FC?
So, what can you say? I mean, it's a good time not to take the foot off the gas. It's just to say, I think they learned a lot from, especially from last year. When from other teams that kind of, especially like Phoenix and all that, they kind of took a foot off the gas, and it kind of cost them, that first round or second round loss. I think they understand that we need to keep momentum. We need to keep be at a certain level, knowing that we're gonna have a bye now. That we gotta keep our game up going into the playoffs, because we've accomplished what they want with their beginning of the goal, and they've obtained it, and this is the time to win it all. It's kind of like put up or shut up. Now we take the next step to get to the championship game, which hopefully we'll get to. If we do go through, we get to host.
Yeah, so we'll have a bye the first week of the playoff rounds, which is the weekend of the 21st through the 22nd. It's already been announced that San Antonio FC will play Friday night, October 28th at 7:30 against a to-be-determined opponent. And the reason why it's to be determined is, unlike the East, I think everybody's still in it outside of Orange County, actually. So we'll get to that when we get to the standings and the different options. I know RGV's sweating it. Oakland Roots is sweating it. El Paso took a bad loss last night. They're on the outside. Vegas, Monterey Bay, Galaxy, even Phoenix Rising still has a shot. But there is one team that's finally eliminated compared to the East. So for that here, Matt, what's your initial thoughts on the last 2 weeks?
Just very, I guess, I shouldn't say nail biting, but it kind of is, because you just don't know who you're gonna play in the end. So it's very I guess competitive right now, just to see who's fitting where. So it looks very good over on the West, because it's so close together.
Robert, your thoughts on the last 2 weeks initially?
I mean, the big thing is just consistency. Like Rafa alluded to, they're keeping their foot on the gas, and then the different lineups, and still finding success. And even Manly getting a goal. Like, different players are stepping into different roles and producing. And it's really cool to say the regular season championship, and then that points record's on the line. But I mean, I almost want, like Matt saying, to already know who we're gonna play, get it scheduled. Let's go. Let's bring on the playoffs, man. Let's do it.
So, all right, let's get into Sacramento. It's 2 weeks. We'll make it quick. We'll watch the previews based on YouTube and USL Championship here. Screen. And we'll see here. And, of course, the race to the playoff by USL Playoff is presented by Hennessy. Let's roll.
Top of the Western Conference table, 67 points. Their magic number is 1 to clinch their first ever.
It's a pretty ball.
Season title. To do so by the end of the night. As he attacks, now peel back on Google Ball. And in the middle of the park, PC cut. Maloney gives it a go. A big save. The first of the night for Danny Viniello.
I'm still waiting for a goal from Maloney.
Yes,
He's overdue one.
Manly couldn't get it turned around on that one.
Found its way to Carter Manley over there, but he couldn't get a clean turn on it. Goes against average of .78.
The most impressive thing is DCL Blues service. Like, every time you watch it, it's the exact same. It's so consistent. Like, it's on a platter.
He's fending off Connor Donovan and Duke Lacroix over there outside the area. Spots PC top of the box, gives it a go, and it's punched away over goal by Viniello.
He had many chances just like this. Great first touch, little shot off the half volley, and again, great save.
Corona back into the middle of the park, finds PC. Over to Adederin, brings it down, turning it to his left, to the back post, it's in! Sam Adederin
fabulous finish.
That's his forte, those
To be
shots.
honest, for him to just
Those-
kind of slow
And that's what
slow
we
From
said
that
about earlier.
take a
We
big
needed
touch,
that
the
outside
ball's
the box
underneath
shot,
him,
like
just
to
kind
give the
of
threat of,
position.
that
And SAFC
the goalie
finally
has to
makes
stay
the
honest.
read.
Like prior to him being here, remember how many
Great
goals
ball.
outside the box? Almost none.
So here's
Yeah.
my question: is there anything that the defender could have done other than what he was doing? And obviously, you see the goalie down here at the bottom,
Too
because
much
it seemed like
space.
he had time.
Great first touch.
There's space, but like, what is his options? He's gonna stab and then get beat. Like,
Yeah. He
like,
could have closed in a little bit more, but like Robert said, if you stab, he's gonna dribble by you, and still probably end up getting the goal. But I think I think what he saw in that play is the positioning of the goalkeeper. So if I can hit it to that corner spot, the goalkeeper's not gonna get it.
or if he turned around and looked, like how many offensive players are in the picture?
Yeah, there's no,
he could have
that's
pressed.
it.
He could have taken a
Yeah.
chance.
but
Look
there's
at
no
that.
forward there to ran the the shot, the rebound, and that's something we probably need to address later.
Just puts it out front of, whips it behind. I'm surprised the pressure inside the 18. I mean, maybe to stand him up and not let him beat
And the
him.
goalkeeper
He's had a
probably
few of those
thought it's gonna be a
shots, though.
center.
No, for sure.
Maloney. Filoni of the turn. Nacho gives it a go.
And he's playing better too. Like he's
Yes.
Yeah,
he's definitely being a lot more of a threat.
His next yellow amounting in a 2-match suspension. Rodrigo Lopez is also in that same situation for Sacramento Republic as well, too.
And they both got it,
Meanwhile, switch
for
the
that.
play over here to the right side. But Jack Gurr gives it a go and a great save there. As one said no. Meanwhile, behind the play, an injured SAFC defender.
It looks like both of them touched it, Maloney and
It
Farr.
looked like it touched Maloney and Farr.
Yeah.
But there was something that happened off the ball over here.
Toronto
Look
slips
at
the
that,
ball
man.
into Adeniran. Filoni the turn, and it goes off the one.
No,
by
unlucky.
Adeniran off his leg. And usually that's a money goal for Sam Adeniran. Opportunity by the wayside for SAFC to go up 2.
It all started from the fancy footwork by Toronto. I think
he had time to settle that.
But
He should have done
I
way
just
better
love
with
that
that.
from Bailone. He's done that twice now. Whether he's
Yeah, he had time
at
to
the box
really
or
kind of
30 yards out,
first touch it and then send the shot in.
Check off another one of those preseason goals that every coach has at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah, this is where a red card, which I'm surprised it wasn't rescinded. I'll admit.
It was weak. It was so weak.
He's like facing his back. He's not really.
Minimum 8 minutes, but you're thinking at least another 2 at the least.
Like
This ball is nearly driven in.
that's what I noticed. Like even that guy Foster, man, that guy he kept diving.
acrobatic attempt.
He's much stronger than that, but like as soon as he got any contact down,
just shy of that front post.
The most opportunistic chances here at the end. Put it in the books. For the first time in their history, San Antonio FC is the Western Conference.
No, that's me.
look at that guy.
Is that guy?
Let's watch that preview.
Conference.
There you
I
go.
had not seen that. So, looking at the stats of the match, 58-42. Sacramento actually outshot us 15-13, but we had more shots on target. We had 5 corners. They had none. We had 2 offsides. They had 13 fouls. We had 12, 5 yellow cards apiece. We had the 1 red card. Both teams actually got impacted by the yellow cards. We lost Tainer, and they lost actually Roro Lopez, to me, their PC and key person. They did miss their big chance. Of course, we hit the woodwork as we saw. Rafa, we completed, had 300 passes, completed 184, 61%.
Still not good. Still not good. Do I need to go to practice and work over that? But what I did like to see, when if you saw in the video when we scored some of those goals or when we threatened, those quick touches within inside the 18, we do a lot of damage with that. But we've gone away from that. If we do a little bit more, because we got the players that we can kind of, like I said, that's how kind of set up that Nacho Baloney shot that almost went in. I mean, if we can play a little bit better there as far as the touch of the ball, I I think we can score a lot more goals. But hey, with our defense, we're winning these 1-0 games. So
Yeah, your thoughts on the 1-0 matches. I think it battle tests, especially for the playoffs coming up, because typically it is a tighter game, generally lower scoring for the most part. But as we've seen, you're one shot away from tying, and then I'm still not 100% confident in this team's ability to go to PKs and pull it out. And it's not about goalkeepers; it's more about people taking a shot. Like I'm sorry, PC, but I don't want you taking any PKs personally because you can't follow it up on the shootout. So, but your guys' thoughts on the 1-0 wins? Because be honest with you, San Antonio's had, I think it was 8 of them. I think I heard somebody was saying
it. The 1-0 wins. I mean, there's different types though. There's some where they're a little more dominant than others, like the Colorado one, and even we'll talk about the Pittsburgh, but both of those I couldn't say we were clearly the better team. But in Sacramento, I mean, gosh, the amount of quality chances, those were a little bit more dominant 1-0, no matter what the scoreline reflects. And like we talked about like yesterday, the Wonder Strike, we're susceptible because what was it, the LA Galaxy hits that free kick, now we're tied or down, and now we have to come back. We had one lapse in judgment, and all of a sudden that's the only quality chance they had, and that's all they needed. Now we're 1-1 in the playoffs. Now what? It's just a matter of consistency in terms of the offense. But the key is if we can get that second goal. I mean, at that point, it almost seems like the other team gets massively desperate and it just gets exponentially worse. But we need to hit that second goal lead to, just to kind of impose our will at that point.
I think the other teams lose their confidence, well, especially when we score on them first. We put a lot of doubt on their minds, and that's why I think we won so many close games. Yeah. I don't think we've been in a game that's been like a shootout, like a 4-3, 5-4. I think our losses, is because we haven't scored, or I think the only ones were like the 3-0 losses with San Diego, and with
the closest
Phoenix.
One was at Monterey, the 3-2.
Yeah.
And RGV at home 2-2 draw. But yeah, they're outside of that, and not counting the Phoenix or the 3-0, 2-0s that they've won, or the 5-0 or against Atlanta United 2, or the 6-0 against Monterey Bay at the start of the season. But yeah, for San Antonio FC, it's generally been a 1-goal win, with the exception of
Monterey Bay 6-0.
Well, not counting the Miami. They won Miami 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
They won Charleston 2-0. They won against Vegas 2-0.
Twice.
Vegas both games 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 both of them.
And the Roots 2-0 the last time here. Other than that, it's been a 1-goal game outside of the blowouts and the away losses. But they've been very competitive. Like they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, actually 10 1-loss wins, and their losses
and that goes to the defense, and then we've rotated our defense too, with Garcia out or with Tanner out with cards and so forth. So you got to give props to those guys that I think this team is built to win a 1-0 game and to hold the lead. But like Robert mentioned, I think if we can get that second goal, I think we can kind of cruise into a victory, because it's tough for teams to kind of score more than 3 goals on us, and unless it's just a bad night that we're not putting goals in, our defense usually keeps us in the games.
And I'll say this for the Pittsburgh match. Matt, any final thoughts on Sacramento? It's always a tough match. The season series split, each team winning 1-0 at their home fields. Both games are fairly competitive. I think both teams, could walk away saying, hey, felt that they should have drew points equally from both matches. So they are a team that, when it comes playoff time, I won't lie, I'm a little bit worried about. For that here. For me, it's them in San Diego. I know, when we go later on the show, we'll kind of go around and see who do you not want to face in the playoffs, for that here. But any final thoughts that you have on the Sac Republic match before we move over to the rainy day in Pittsburgh?
I mean, I do believe like there should have been at least 2 more goals in that game.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of momentum going in after that first goal, but it's like I've said, it's been people, not people. The team starts to figure out us, and then that's when they shift a little bit. But at the same time, the guys got to just get that second or third goal in there. Even with some of those open shots that we saw in the Sacramento game, I mean, it's on the guys right now. Like they need to just get that next goal in there.
Robert, your final thoughts on the Sac Republic game?
Like I said, it was a win that we dominated as far as a 1-0. I mean, they had one quality chance, maybe two, and it's just classic SAFC. And then hopefully that translates to into the playoffs. You know, when it comes home playoff time, make it a fortress, get loud. You know, make teams uncomfortable. You know, but you're right. Sacramento is one team that plays so similar to us in a lot of ways, to where they play enough defense and have enough offense to where they can give you fits. Like, it's not one that I would look forward to playing, but I guess we'll touch on that in the later segments.
Rafa, your final thoughts?
Like I said, it was a great win, especially that loss in Sacramento. And like I said, if you got to beat the best teams. Like I said, I think the West is a lot stronger than the East. So you got to beat quality teams if your goal is to win it all. So great quality win, close win. We move on to the next one.
So moving on to the next one. Once again, thanks to YouTube and USL Championship for it here. Race to the USL Playoffs, and we're off in a rainy day.
55 degrees, a lot of rain. Devin, will that have any kind of impact on the firepower this evening? It's going to, just in the sense of the pitch. We've also seen in plenty of...
So you guys have played soccer here. Rainy turf, how does that play?
Horrible.
Yeah, it just slides. There's different kinds of turf, though, because that turf is different than Detroit's. Like, that's some are a lot slicker than others. Some absorb more water to where it's a lot more like puddles, to where it's not absorbed into the ground. It's literally like the ball will sit in pockets.
Well, this one drained pretty well. I didn't notice any.
Like the Detroit, when you watch it, though, it starts to like collect in certain areas to where it makes it even impossible to dribble. It just gets stuck.
This is more about New Mexico United field that gets canceled due to last night here, but we'll leave it at that.
Made it look like a rice field.
Yeah, it's like.
But I think when you play on turf like this, I think the biggest concerns are the keepers. The keepers are kind of like, how's the ball going to skip? And then also the grip of the ball too. He did say it's 55 degrees. It's moisture. It's gonna. Your glove. Unless you got some nice top-notch gloves, you got to be very cautious as far as, be a little conservative as far as making sure you're settling the ball and blocking the ball, and getting the ball inside you, because here you take some risks, it can cost you a game.
And the way it skips along there, the passing accuracy I heard was horrible, and it's reflected in the. It's tough. It's tough. The trajectory, trying to gauge it, like, it's tough.
This game had a lot of horrible passing, a lot of horrible first touch.
Well, to me, I thought this was a good playoff primer, not only for the weather, because it typically gets a little bit colder, and we'll see here, but, I remember when the Scorpions were making their deep playoff run, that championship night was, you were bundled up and through there, so to me, I was kind of excited that they did play in some, wet conditions, some chilly conditions, because if they get, mid-November here in San Antonio, that's cold for us. And to me, I think that's good, a good test for them on the road here. So,
and it's a team that doesn't lose either. You don't beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. That's rare.
That week off can also be a detriment, and you come out a little bit slow. So still plenty to play and to figure out here. I got to imagine San Antonio wins it this year. As that shot from Griffin comes well off the mark. Second corner of the contest for Pittsburgh, that header. Remember, it's played through to Jar. Service again, that one wiped away at the last second.
So already in the second half, because the first half was defensive.
To say the least.
Done, of course, for right hand on it.
See, right, exactly right there with the wet curve. That little bounce, that little skip right there could cost you a goal.
It caught him off guard, you could tell.
But he was able to react to that one.
So this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it causes the slight hesitation. Great attempt.
It was good to see him back.
Sneaky shot. His weight
Good to see him back.
with his right hand to poke it out from his body, so he's reaching a little bit. Watch the English on the ball. Gets up underneath it.
His substitution changed the game.
So even though he doesn't
It really changed the game, the perception of the game. And
Also,
he really
Hernandez,
influenced, yeah.
him and Hernandez too, like they were active.
Valera plays it out wide. Maloney trying to get to it. He does. That header. Pretty good look there. Maloney just to get to that ball was impressive. Garcia looking down, trying to find it himself. His shot, volleys it over the net.
That's the difference between Abu and Garcia, in my opinion.
Down. He's not looking at the goal.
He can serve it up.
At all.
Garcia's due for
Last
a goal.
time out ball, very similar situation.
Yeah, no, he's good.
And Maloney did a good job.
The hustle play of the game of the game.
Now it's the 86th minute. That heel
They
kick
didn't show it here.
of the net. There's
I'll see if I can pull it up here.
Time in the
Yeah, where he saved it from going out.
1-0 San Antonio. Whatever it takes mentality to go and
Nice
find
cross by
themselves a
Nicky.
result.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask for a game changer. Look who it is again. Nicky Hernandez. The trickery on the left the first time, cuts it back to the right on the second. What do you know about it if you're Carter Manley?
That was like a hopeless feeling for the goalie when you see that. You're like frozen in time. You're like,
is that
you can't move. It's like right there, but you're already like your momentum that you want to
San
win.
Antonio.
All right here. So we'll start with you, Matt. Your thoughts on, or here, let me do the stats here real quick here, and then I'll pull up the goal here for that here. So Rafa's going to be happy with these stats. So
if you were mad about the other one,
Possession wise, against Bob Lilly, so
this is what has to drive teams crazy. Possession wise, Pittsburgh had the ball 67%. We had it for 33%. And that was, first half we had it 60, or they had it 68%. We had it 32, and 65-35 in the second. But to me, 11 shots, 3 on target for San Antonio. Pittsburgh only had 5 shots, 2 on target. We had 10 corner kicks. They had 5. Passing, we only attempted 232 passes. We only had accurate passes of 109, so that is a 47% clip. They had 467 at 70%. We were 19 of 72 for 26% on long balls. 36-90. Rafa, you're upset at 60. We're now below 50, but still getting the win.
I guess the one pass that did go through.
that was quality pass.
But what do you expect from, like, especially if you're going against Bob Lilly? He's got a lot of experience. I know he knows how to game plan, and their defense is kind of built similar to ours as far as pressure. But but there was a good test, but still we need to improve that, because I think that second half we really could have put I think 2 or 3 if we made better passes. Because the first half we looked kind of a little lost, and Pittsburgh did dominate a bit, but then we kind of flipped the switch on them in the second half, and especially when Lorera came in, we were getting a lot better chances. It's just the passing, it was either behind or two, and I understand maybe the weather conditions kind of came in a factor in, but we need to get a little bit better in that, because we, like Robert mentioned the last the last game. We got to score. We score 2 goals, no one's going to beat us. That's just how I see it. We're just too good back there, to maintain a lead. So I think, but like I said, it's a great win. Like I said, not everybody wins in Pittsburgh, and we're I guess this game proves that we're battle tested and we're ready to go for the playoffs.
So I was looking at it here. The XG was 0.25 for San Antonio, 0.09 for the Riverhounds for that here. So that tells you that tells you how well this match was. So all right, so I think I got it queued up here. All right, so let me go back 10 seconds. So we'll start. Let me see here. I think this starts the sequence of it.
Garcia tries his luck from a different angle. Here's Hernandez.
Nice move by Nicky.
Hernandez offering some service. So at least the last 5 to 6 minutes.
So that kind of sets up the play that we score on.
Pittsburgh just keeps it alive, right? The thing is, 50-50 balls, second chance opportunities. Who wants to be the grit to the goalpost?
Yeah, with Nicky and Laura, we saw a little more offensive. We got a little bit more aggressive.
Ordonez.
I think Marcinez, you know what, I was going to take it. Go ahead. Yeah, what a great play by Maloney. I mean,
Good job of keeping this in the attacking third.
That sums up his whole season, like hustle.
And I really think the plays prior to this
mhm.
sets up Nicky for him to have this space, because before he was on it.
Yeah.
Now into the 86th minute. That heel kick finds the back of the net. There's Nail.
I know they don't do hustle plays for stats, but Maloney's just been,
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple.
Did I show you that play or no?
No, I think it didn't come.
Oh, hold on. You could have said something, guys.
I've watched it about 10 times.
Sweet. Hernandez offering some service. Pittsburgh just keeps it alive, right?
So this is the play that I was talking about for Nicky. It sets up. To me, this sets up the goal
Who wants to be the
or the
greatest?
assist for Nicky.
Yeah, because then now they're thinking twice about pressing on him.
Mm-hmm.
Williams goes crashing into the goalpost. Salon trying to climb the ladder there. This one whipped out. Ordonez.
Back clearance by Pittsburgh. A great save by Maloney there.
Maloney did a good job of keeping this in the attacking third.
And he had just beat him, so he came back to the other side, and then
heel
Maloney
kick
got there.
finds the back of the net.
And their flag went down.
And that is tied
Sad
at the
flag.
86th minute. It's 1-0 San Antonio.
We did see Royce waving his flag behind the bench.
Yeah.
Relatively dormant.
That was awesome.
5 to 10 minutes, the road team has woken up. They've ignited the bench, and they now lead late.
It was a great spark by Nicky there, and also Malera.
Always find a way. They have that game-winning, do whatever it takes mentality to go and find themselves a result. Just ask for a game changer. Look who it is again, Nicky Hernandez. The trickery on the left the first time, cuts it back to the right on the second.
Was that a handball there?
It almost looked kind of close. I saw that too, but either way, like the trajectory changed so much. Like yeah, it was.
The versatility of this team, play them anywhere that you want.
I will say, and it's not in the highlights, there were a couple of questionable calls. There was a clear handball by San Antonio that did not get called. It's over here. Yeah. There was also a push in the back on, I think it was Sam.
In the box?
In the box, flat out. But Darius says, blame the rain plus the turf for the low pass success.
I think too, like one of my questions about the passing accuracy, do you think some of it stems from the fact that we don't try to possess in the back end? We're trying more pressing, challenging passes. Now, there's times when it works really well, and there's times when that type of low percentage pass isn't always going to be the most effective or show up in the stats, but it just has to work so many times for you to be successful.
It's more on the when we attack. If you watch some of the field, some of the passes that we do, they're like forced. I understand we play the ball from the back to the front, and
Yeah.
that's just our game. But when we're on the attacking side, especially near the 18, we just have such a difficulty as far as getting clear passes there. Uh, except for, like I said, like that goal that we scored. That's where we need to look more of that, or even the quick touch from the Sacramento game. If we can do those quick touch combinations, and we've hurt a lot of teams when we do that. But a lot of the times we send lazy passes or
Yeah.
and,
No,
and
our
stuff,
hopeful
and
balls
then,
are like hopeful balls, like up there
yeah,
in hopes of this guy getting onto
Well,
it.
to me, part of it's the kickball.
Yeah.
You know, we're only completing 300 passes, and if a third of those approximately are long balls, which are not high successful passes to begin with, that I think that is part of. To me, that's part that goes into the numbers.
But that's why Larea and Perano and Nikki are like a change of pace. Like they're a little bit more creative and they're more of the intricate, like short touch passing. They've shown some flashes, some offensive flashes that we're missing because they don't rely on the long balls much.
No.
Matt, your thoughts on the Riverhounds match?
Gee, there was a lot of ankle breakers. I'll say that. There was a lot of slip and slide, but I do think it's great that we came out with the win. Of course, the way it was done too. I just wish that due to the circumstances of the weather, we could have gotten maybe one more goal in there, maybe. But it played out how the way it played out.
And a new starting lineup.
Yeah, another lineup.
A brand new one.
30-second lineup, I think.
I think we only duplicated one time.
So looking at the stats on USL, this will make you even feel a little bit better. Passing accuracy, and this goes to Rafa's point, passing accuracy in opponent's half, Pittsburgh was 62.4 in ours. We were 41.5, for San Antonio. They have our passing accuracy at 47% for that here. Our crossing accuracy, surprisingly, 37.5%. So we can cross, but the simple passes, 11 shots, they had 5 as we discussed here. Only 1 yellow card. You guys made mention of the substitution. So the starting lineup for Pittsburgh was Farr, Dalim, Garcia, Manley, Abdul Salam, Maloney, Abu, PC, Adeniran, Perano, and Lynn. At the, well, I thought it was at the half. Hernandez came on for Abu at the half, right at the halftime, and then I think where the offense really woke up is Perano came out and Lynn came out for Lorera and Bologna, with Nacho there, and then Collier came in for Sam at the 90th minute, for late there, but basically the 2 subs that or I guess you could say the 3 subs, Abu for Hernandez and then Lorera for Perano, made such a difference. And then Jacqueline, we got to have a discussion because he was a first team, one of the top goal scorers for MLS Next Pro. In my opinion, and I'm not saying he's not doing it the right job and stuff like that, because obviously he is, because he's getting minutes. Coach Marcino likes him. But to me, you can see there's a drop off when he's on there compared to, Nacho, compared to, the previous, Dylan, Patino, along those lines. And that's kind of to be expected. But your thoughts on the substitution patterns and how it paid off? I know for me, in talking with Mongols, who's the podcast for, the Riverhounds, and, I was talking to Kaler with Hammering Down, for the Legion. I think the reason why San Antonio is so successful, especially with these 1-0 wins, is the depth that they bring on. There's no drop in quality. They're bringing on starters, and that's why I think we've had 32 different lineups.
That's fair. Is
because Coach Marcino knows, hey, whoever I put in there can perform at the same level as the guy that's going to the bench.
That's fair.
Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's the key especially for last year. We didn't really have too much of the depth.
Timeout. The Denver Broncos are up 6-0. So America's team has advanced its lead. So let me
Another
put back
field
on
goal.
the Bronco hat.
Yeah, another field goal.
And then
Another
another intercept. Another. But
Go
I
ahead,
think
Rafa. Sorry.
I know there's I think the depth we had is a lot better than we had last year, and I think like I said we have the starters. We have guys that can start pretty much anywhere. I think it's the case with Jack. I think him. I don't think he's caught up to the game. The speed of the game. The speed of the game. The USL Champions is a lot different from MLS Next because
Correct.
there you're playing with boys. Here you're playing with men. But I think in time, I think Marcina does have confidence in him. I think in time he'll learn how to plus the to play, but the chemistry he has to build that chemistry, and I don't think he's built that chemistry yet with the guys like with.
Yeah.
I think like Pirano. I think the exception was made Pirano because Pirano knows the system, so he didn't have to take him a while to kind of get it going. So I think Jack's gonna get him some valuable time. I don't know. He'll get some. He'll probably start again against Birmingham and probably OC, and hopefully, like I said, by the time the playoffs start, we do get Dylan, we do get Patino back because no team wants us. If we have those two forwards healthy, ready to go, who can really game plan against us? And that's the key. No one has really been able to kind of game plan us. Maybe the San Diego game, but we were shorthanded. We were playing academy players, but coming in the playoffs, I don't think anybody can, make a game plan to stop us because Marcina can come up with any combination for that game.
Robert?
Yeah, like Rafa said, I mean, those substitutions were the key to sparking the offense. And now that everyone's getting, relatively healthy, now we even have more options to come in. And if something's not working, he has other pieces he can push back in to kind of maybe stir the pot or spark some creativity that, was lacking, or rest some tired legs, because it is a long season. It's a grind. So it's good to have like the people coming off the bench, like with fresh legs to kind of give your team that spark in the end. And my thought on Lynn right now at this point is kind of give him a grade of like incomplete because it's kind of hard to like put him in that situation. He could have been in a system where he's a 9 and he gets fed the ball, and then all of a sudden he's in a position where he needs to create and he did, read off people's runs. So he's learning his teammates. So I mean, it's still a matter of time.
And John, USL Tactics did earlier in the week, did pull out how him and Sam are making the runs. So I think that's, and to me, and that's why I said up front, I think Coach Marcina likes what he's seeing on it. But to me, just, when he's on the field, it doesn't seem like we have the same attacking prowess as we do with the other forwards. And
For sure.
And that may not be fair to him. It's not fair to Pirano as well, because it seems like, to me, Pirano hasn't been the Pirano of old for that here, but he's also playing more. To me, Pirano plays, is playing good, and I think the system's tweaked a little bit from when he was in before.
It's way different. Like, it reminds me of basketball where they dump it to a point and they're like, "Here, you create." Versus now you have a system where you run. So he's fitting into that role, like in terms of he creates when he has to, but he's still, once again.
Well, what I like to see is him and Lorero playing at the same time.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I don't know.
But I don't think you're going to see that though, because then who are you taking off?
Abu?
You can take off Abu or PC for I guess for these two games.
But then you expose your defense a little bit more.
It depends what you want. Yeah, like what do you want? Like defense or offense? Like that's what you got to choose.
Yeah.
But especially if you're down a goal, if you need instant offense, if you have just to kind of test it out, you never know. If come in a situation, hey, I need to plug in two attacking midfielders to get a goal, there's an opportunity there. So I think I like to see them both at the same time, see what they do. Maybe even put them outside the ring and have a dinner and up top as a 9 and let them go. To me, that's crazy.
If and I know we're going to have the Orange County game that technically won't matter for here, but I'm pretty sure they're going to start most of the starters because they got the bye week the next week. But I think it would be awesome to see Nicky, Pirano, Lorera kind of as your midfield with, whoever that you have up top. I would love to see that mixture, those three
Yeah.
midfielders, because number one, Nicky's proven that he's very, he's stepped up defensively,
Oh, for sure.
but he has that speed and creativity that we've seen, and you add him with Pirano and Larrera, that would be, for me, very tasty to watch. I'll just leave it at that.
With Patino up top, poaching goals.
I don't know if Coutinho's coming back though.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah. That.
But we got to give it a Nacho. I mean, Nacho's really stepped it up.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. He's definitely gotten a lot more dangerous lately.
So, final thoughts on the Riverhounds. I know Pro SAFC, kind of, put it as like rainy night in Stoke. That famous saying, where it's cold and wet and a tough place to play. Matt, final thoughts on the Riverhounds and the trip, where we got a little bit of revenge, because last year here in San Antonio, I want to say it was Forbes that scored a goal, right around the 90th minute, 89th minute to tie it. This time we get the late goal to walk away with the 3 points. I doubt SAFC's talking about that, but any thoughts on that, Matt?
I mean, hey, it's great that we came out with a competitor in the East. So it's good to see them getting the feel of somewhat of a playoff vibe. Obviously, the conditions kind of made it a little bit more tougher with the rain and the temperature. Something they're probably not completely used to yet, because we haven't hit it over here yet. So I'm just thankful to see that they're keeping up with what tread they're getting. So if they have to kick it up another notch, hopefully they go above 70 instead of going that steady 45.
Robert, your final thoughts?
I mean, a win is a win is a win. I mean, you can look at stats, you can look at plays, but if you're a results-driven team, I mean, that's the key, is a win. I mean, not that the Broncos fans would know, but next.
All right. Well, there is one thing that we have to talk about. This was the release from SAFC.
Nicky in the cart is what makes this video.
Yeah.
I watched it over, just watching him in the cart. That's hilarious. They're like spinning him in circles. They're about to flip him out of that cart.
This is a courtesy of San Antonio FC and their Twitter account.
That was the best.
Supporter Shield. Or regular season championship, because they got called out saying, well, the Supporter Shield's from the supporters. And, to be fair, SAFC supporters have not, or not SAFC, USL supporters haven't had it. There was a plate that was given out last to Phoenix. I've heard reports. Phoenix with their PR guy Bosch, if you follow him, H Bosch, I forget his thing there, said that USL has stopped giving that out, which is kind of disappointing. I kind of understood it during COVID time, but I find that, or they said because it's not set up like a traditional league where everybody plays everybody, they don't feel like that it's a worthy thing. To me, you come out with the best record after 34 matches.
Yeah, it's a long season.
There should be something. It shouldn't be this training thing or whatever that they.
It's a balance cover or whatever.
So
we get one of those silver plates from Dollar Tree. And we can.
Yeah, we need to hand out reps. We can
just buy one of those Captain America shields and just.
I'll just say Copa Teos is able to go on to Amazon, whatever, get the cowboy chip hat and say, hey, that's the supporter shield for all of the Copa Teos things and along those lines. There's no reason why USL cannot provide one. Maybe they'll surprise us and at the last match present something. But we'll see here. But that, to me, that was the disappointing thing on the match is that there was no trophy, or there doesn't appear to be any trophy for winning the regular season. USL already doesn't pay anything if you win the damn league, in the playoffs or the regular season. The least you can do is give them a participation trophy, in my opinion. But that was my little story thing here. Moving on. Well, Rafa, did you have any final thoughts?
That was just a great win. It just shows that we own the East, even though we lost that one with Indy. But
7 wins, 1 loss. Outside of Memphis, which is the only one they've also completed, they had 6 wins I want to say 6 wins, 2 draws. So points wise, of course, San Antonio is right up there at this point. So moving on to the standings, the East, the top 7 is set, but the order is not. Louisville's clinched, so they're going to be the number 1 seed, so they get a bye. Memphis, to me, they're in the driver's seat, although the Rowdies do have 3 matches left to the 2 by Memphis. They got to make up the El Paso match that got rained out due to the hurricane, or not rained out. They moved it prior due to the hurricane, which was the right thing to do for that here. Birmingham, who we face this week's 4th. Detroit City, who has 1 more match left, is in 5th. They lost last night to Lou City. The Riverhounds, 53, and then the Miami FC at 52. So anywhere from 4th through 7th is still a wild card. And, really, I think the top 3 are going to be kind of set. But, who gets that last home spot, whether it's Detroit, Pittsburgh, or Miami FC, that's still to be determined. Out west, the picture's starting to come into play a little bit, especially at the top. San Antonio's locked into 1 and host all the way through as long as they win. San Diego's locked into 2nd. With last night's win over El Paso, you got to think Colorado Springs is getting locked in pretty close to clinching the 3rd slot. Sacramento, I think, is fairly comfortable in the 4th. But 5, 6, 7 going all the way down to probably Vegas. And I hate saying the Lights or Monterey Bay's kind of falling out, but if you look at their past form and they got more road games coming up where they typically don't perform as well, I think they're going to fall a little bit short. But New Mexico United's got 3 matches left, but it's going to be a jam-packed 3 because last night's match against LA Galaxy, they're going to play on a Saturday, turn around and they're going to play on a Sunday, turn around, have to play on a Wednesday, and then finish that final Saturday because I don't see USL going beyond, I think it's the 15th for their here, for the playoffs. RGV controls their own destiny. They get Phoenix Rising this week, down at HEB Park. If they win, they control their thing. If they lose, then you got to start worrying about them. The Roots, sneaking along. El Paso took the big hit last night, losing 4-1. They still got to play Tampa. They got to play Colorado Springs for that here. So their path getting in. Vegas, and Monterey Bay, I think, are on the outside. Galaxy, I guess you got to throw in there because they've got 3 matches, but I'm not a believer in the Galaxy. And Rising fans still believe they got a chance. Everything needs to work perfect for them, but technically speaking, mathematically, if they beat RGV, which I don't think they do personally, but technically speaking, if all the chips fall, they can. So, looking at the playoffs, as we speak right now, San Diego would host Oakland Roots, which would be an interesting match because Oakland Roots has played San Diego tough. RGV against Colorado Springs in Colorado. Interesting matchup. I could see RGV pulling the win. And New Mexico, Sacramento. At this point here, I would say Sacramento pretty easily. The thing is, San Antonio gets the lowest seed. Whether it be RGV, New Mexico, Oakland, if any of those 3 are able to pull the upset, technically, we would get the lowest seed. So, is there any team I'll ask you this question here. If you're able to pick who's the one team you want to face and who's the one team you don't want to face. We'll start with you, Matt.
I would say I want RGB.
You sure?
I would want them because it'd be a great match. But and I don't want New Mexico.
Darius mentioned, I don't want to face Phoenix in the playoffs. Them sweeping us by multiple goals during the year gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Won't feel good until they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. They are the one team that I think talent-wise, if they do get in, as a bottom seed that could go far. But I also think San Antonio would love to face Phoenix because I don't think San Antonio
Teach them
had. If you watch that game against in Phoenix,
we dominated.
They had opportunities and they just couldn't finish. But Phoenix is a good shot. If they get in, they are a sleeper pick. They are probably the strongest bottom seed that out of in the modern history that could make a deep run. Robert, yours. You said that was your one who you want. Matt, who is the one that you didn't want to face?
New Mexico.
Phoenix.
Out of the three, I would say New Mexico.
Robert, who's your picks?
I mean, I guess out of the top 7, I mean, the one I would want to face is New Mexico for sure. I mean, there's like, if you watch their games, they're just like blah. It almost like they're like going through the motions, and there's not a lot of offense. There's defense, but there's just nothing that I can't think of a player that just scares me. Like that guy could take over a game, and then all of a sudden, and
my only thing is Chris Wehan.
He loves Toyota Field, though. He loves Toyota Field. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but remember, Garcia didn't play that game.
But Toyota Field is not like him. We don't like
Chris
him.
Wehan has that voodoo spell that
he scores at Toyota Field all the time.
He wants.
Yeah, Toyota Field. He has 3 or 4 goals, right? Something crazy. I don't want to talk about it, but I mean, Sacramento was my initial one, but the Roots kind of are scaring me a little because they're playing better in this run of form. I mean, and RGV is like the one that they play so similar to us, and they've been hot. But if I had to put one team, I'd say Sacramento right now. I mean, not that I can't say, I don't want to sit here and say that's the team I don't want to face because we can't beat them. It's just that's the one that is most similar to us that could give us the most fits.
Rafa, yours?
I think the one team maybe I just pigeon off of Robert to Sacramento. I'm kind of because they're just kind of like a mirror image of us. But I think for us we have the edge on them between us, and then we have a better bench. I think we have a better bench than Sacramento. As far as the other teams, I'm not scared of them. Bring it. I want to kick Landon Donovan's ass again. Win again like last year. And yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid New Mexico's falling apart. Colorado doesn't have Haji Berry anymore, so I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, but offensively, they've still got talent.
Yeah.
But with Colorado, it's their defense.
Yeah.
That's that. And I know they've improved, but their defense is still not, in my opinion, not championship level.
In Oakland, don't they feel disrespected? Like, can you think about it? Their coach leaves in the middle when they're in the playoff race to a quote unquote better situation, and they're not even like pushing for the playoffs. They've been in a poor run of form, even with him being there, and then they're actually all of a sudden picking it. It's interesting. It's an interesting storyline.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at for that here. I'll let Rafa introduce the last topic, but Champions League is back. So we've got to dog a little bit on
Barcelona.
So let's take a look here. Let me see here if I can make this bigger. Napoli in 3 games played. They're 3-0, 9 points. Liverpool 6. Ajax Rangers bringing up the rears. Group B: Club Brugge, Porto, Bayern, Atletico Madrid. This one, obviously, Club Brugge seems to. I don't know if they've clinched already, but they got to be fairly close.
Yeah, I think they win one more game. They clinch the second round spot.
But who do you see coming out 2, 3, and 4?
I think
to be where the race goes.
Yeah, I think Porto will probably pull out because Atletico they're playing like crap, and I'm surprised Leverkusen's also struggling too. But yeah, I think Porto ends up, getting the second one.
Well, what do you know? It's Rafa's BFF. We're not to that division there, Coach Cano. Bayern, Inter Milan, Barcelona, Victoria Plins.
We didn't get Coach Cano to a game.
He's a busy guy.
Interesting though that with that group, Inter and Barcelona. Inter got the win, but Barcelona felt robbed because of a couple of handballs, but they're gonna play again. I mean, if Barcelona doesn't win at home against Inter, and let's say Inter gets a tie, Barcelona is going to be playing in the Europa League. So,
you think anybody can pull a point from Bayern or no?
I think maybe if Bayern wins the next game, I think what they're going to probably do is probably play some more of their bench players, and that you might see one. Maybe if they play against Barcelona, they'll probably put a stack team for that because I think they want to embarrass them again. I know Oliver Kahn wants to do that, but like I said, they may steal a point. I think I can see Inter maybe steal a point from them.
Group D, Sporting Portugal, Tottenham in second, Eintracht Frankfurt in third, and Marseille bringing up the fourth slot here. This one's got to be one of the most competitive matches where there's no clear-cut top team at this point. So this one's wide open, in my opinion.
Would you think Tottenham would be winning the group and maybe Frankfurt because they're the Europa League champs? But Sporting's doing a great job. I mean, they've come in clutch since the first loss, but I think it's going to come down to the final two games for that. I think eventually Tottenham, I think Sporting are going to end up passing through.
Group E, Salzburg, Chelsea, Milan, and Dynamo Zagreb. Another very competitive group. Chelsea's been a little bit on a disappointment at this point, in my opinion. But this is a very competitive group, 1 through 4, unlike some of the others. Your thoughts, Rafa or Robert?
Well, Chelsea got a 3-0 win over Milan at home, but they're going to have to flip-flop and head out to Italy next week, and it's a do or die for Milan. They have to win this. They have to win at home against Chelsea to kind of, and then, like I said, and hopefully they can end up beating Salzburg. I'm sure they'll take care of Dynamo Zagreb at the end. But I think eventually it's going to probably be between Chelsea and Milan. I think Salzburg might kind of choke on that. Group
F, we don't really need to talk about because it's Celtic. Let's go Celtic.
It's not the Boston Celtics.
Oh man, Celtic looks boring.
Yeah, Real Madrid they kind of cruise. They should have scored more goals on that game against Shakhtar. They're going to play them again next week in Poland. So if they can get a win for that pretty much clinches the group for them. But I think got to give it a Shakhtar, from Ukraine. Playing away from Ukraine, what's going on, and hats to them, and hopefully they do, get to advance and go on. That way they have something that the Ukrainian people can cheer for in the Champions League second round.
Since Coach Kano popped on here, do you care to comment about your draw in La Liga this past week against Osasuna, who's a club that I had personally never heard of because I'm not a La Liga fan.
Osasuna.
Yeah. At Real Madrid, and let's give full plate here. It seems like a bit of a disappointing result.
Yeah, But hey, it happens. It happens. But hey, we're circling around
That's
for
a
that
little
game.
Viking-like here with that
Oh,
answer.
no,
It
no,
happens.
No,
It
sir.
happens, but we're
No,
circling
sir.
the one. We're circling the one on the 16th.
You're
There
circling
at
the wagon.
Bernabeu against take out that team full of Visigoths and barbarians out on the
The
east
team
coast
that's
of
in first
Spain
place.
by a couple of goals, but
Still 19 goals, 1 goal allowed. That seems a lot better than 18 goals and 7 allowed. I'm
well,
just saying,
they've played the scrubs of the La Liga. They haven't played the tough ones yet, so it's a still long season.
Sorry, I've been saving that one there.
Oh, here it comes.
Group G, the Man City Invitational, Dortmund, Sevilla, Copenhagen. Dude, I just to me, Man City. It's going to take a special team to beat them this year.
They look great. They look great.
The one thing on the knock on City is the defense. Just right now they're doing well, but when it comes to the knockout stage, they always find a way to choke. Especially
so you're trying to say they're the Colorado Springs of the Champions League, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, they scored 3 goals but give up 5.
Yeah. And then I think eventually, that group, like I said, Man City is going to win that group. I think Dortmund will pass through. Sevilla just sacked Lopetegui, and they bring him back a familiar coach. They used to coach for Chile and Argentina. I forget his last name, but like I said, Sevilla probably going to end up in the Europa League, and
Sevilla's hurting in La Liga as well. They're 17th out of 20.
Yeah. So they're in dire straits right now.
And then Copenhagen, thank you for participating. PSG, Benfica, Juventus. For us that kind of follow it, not exactly shocking, but for a name brand club, it is kind of shocking to see how far they are back in third place. And then, of course, Josh Cohen doing all he can between the pipes with was it Maccabi Haifa, from Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately doesn't have much, just the talent level is just much different. But your thoughts on Group H? The PSG didn't walk through like I thought they would, but
Benfica had them down, and but the game was played at Benfica. They're going to do the turnaround, and now the next game is going to be in Paris. So that's a key game. If Paris wins that game, they're more likely will win the group. But if Benfica wins it, now you pretty put the pressure on PSG. And Juventus really, like I said, they need to get another win down there in Israel, and then hopefully they can knock off PSG at home and try to slide into that second spot. I think Benfica's in a better position there, right now. If they can get a tie or they can get a win in Paris, like I said, they'll win the group. But I think PSG is probably, they'll take care of business at home.
So I have to go pick up AJ. So it's going to be now Rafa, Robert, and Matt running the show. So if you guys are still on while I'm when I get back with AJ, we'll pick up the discussion. Maybe Royce will hop on, although it's kind of late for him with the youngster. But have fun, Rafa. The floor is yours as the host. I'm sure we're going to get better ratings, and everybody will be hopping on to catch you at this point.
So I guess to finish off the show, there was some interesting things came up this week with the NWSL, the whole report with Yates, and just ridiculous to read that report with how some of these coaches were acting and so forth. Matt or Rara, how do you guys feel about that situation?
I mean, it's repulsive. Like there's no place, and not even in just soccer, just in this world in general, for people to take advantage of their positions of power, or like take advantage of situations where people don't necessarily feel comfortable voicing their, or reaching out because of like fear of retaliation or repercussions, and they're just trying to make a career out of, something they love, and then it takes away their safe space. Like that's the biggest thing, is like that's a place where they feel comfortable and loved, or they it's passionate, and now it's been taken away. It's a place of they don't want to wake up, they don't want to go, and like I said, the idea is like it's repulsive at the end of the day, and it absolutely needs to be addressed, and it needs to be eliminated.
What are your comments on Matt on that situation?
I mean, it's like I said, it's pretty much the same as what Robert said. Power is just getting taken for granted, and some of them just didn't have that safe spot anymore. You don't feel like it. I don't know, like your passion's just gotten stripped from you, and it's just tough to really comment on it.
Yeah, like for me, being a former, like I said, club coach, it angered me a lot, because I did witness quite a few of it, not only on the girls' side but also on the boys' side too. And we'll maybe see there may be a report for that later on. Who knows? Because with MLS and so forth. But what I think the U.S. soccer, I think they focus more on building it as a business, and then actually developing players and helping develop those players, but also put them in a positive environment. And I think this is like the reflection of what happened with the U.S. gymnastics situation too.
Right.
Yep. Throwing it under the rug and so forth. The embarrassing part, like with the Portland Thorns, and and I found a situation recently. I was out in Odessa about the UTPB coach kind of acting the same way with the players, and so it's not only from the top; it's also going all the way to the college level, the semi-pro level. And I know there was an issue last year, with the team. I think with Austin, one of the Austin teams where the Athenians played, and and then they're going even to the club levels. And I think U.S. soccer really needs to take you look in the mirror on this, and really come up with a better system to not allow these people to ever coach again.
Yeah. And,
this thing about yelling at kids and this and that. And for me, and I take pride when I coach, and I can, say that I didn't yell at my players. If I have to make a point across, I'll pull them to the side and, hey, get in gear and so forth and get it done. And that's that, just positive reinforcement, because, a lot of those, a lot of your kids you coach up, you're the role model. You're probably their father figure or mother figure. And I think U.S. soccer kind of doesn't see things that way. And I think they really need to kind of clean house, and also build, hopefully they have a system that doesn't allow coaches to jumping from one state to another state or another town and not do it I know they do background checks, because like I said, I had to do a background check when I do coach club soccer, but situations like this, they do need a background check to say, hey, or even, terminate their national licenses. If they have a license, guess what? You lose it if you're going to act this way.
And you'll see like other examples of it outside of soccer. I mean, there's even shows that somewhat promote it. If you ever saw that one Friday Night Tykes.
Yeah. I hated that show.
Little kids, it made no sense. It was infuriating to see that little kid, and they're grabbing him by the face mask, like yelling at him as if they're adults. I was like, no, because it just creates like a cycle. Like then they think it's the way to act in the future when they're in that same situation. So they need to break the cycle and realize this is not the appropriate way to do it. And or if you're saying those like cheerleading mom shows where they're just like screaming at, we're talking about anorexia to these kids that are like 10 years old, 12. Like, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, you are literally projecting the wrong image. So I think some of it just stems from, unfortunately, societal like flaws that need to be addressed globally, but also in the game and eliminated. Like that kind of stuff just needs to not happen. But I mean, it's easier said than done. It's just a matter of now putting the measures in place that are effectively going to do it. Not just window dressing, not because all of a sudden it's the topic du jour, like they're talking about it. Now you need to act, because that's the problem. Like sometimes they talk about it becomes a social media trend, then nothing happens. Like then we're in a cycle 6 months later, 2 years later, talking about that. Remember when same thing. So it needs to really, really be enforced in a way that makes an impact, though.
Yeah. Do you think they're more worried about as far as the quantity of having more players and having success and having more business, or that having actually quality coaches that are not going to go through that route? How do we fit? Should that be fixed?
It's tough. It's a tough answer because, like, you can talk about additional regulations, you can talk about licensing, you can talk about that, but it comes like deep. It's like almost like the fiber of our society needs to be amended to realize, this is not the appropriate way to do it. And like those shows, that's the problem when they project stuff like that. All of a sudden, it makes it other people see it and they say, "Oh, this is gonna get me noticed. This is the way to act. This is how it should be." But we need to not, I guess, glorify that type of stuff. That we have a bad habit of it, in our society of glorifying situations like that as if, oh, it's a cool show to watch. It's interesting. But you're looking at little kids get literally abused and nothing's being said. And it's
Now,
not like he said, she said, it's on TV.
yeah,
And it's like, it's like, wow, how is that okay?
yeah. Here's a comment from Coach Conley. He goes, "It's important that's understood. This is a systematic soccer problem up the entire chain, from youth soccer to the pros, far more than the NWSL should," which is true. That's the
Absolutely.
truth, and
Absolutely.
and it needs to be fixed and so forth. And hopefully, like I said, I know with the Women's World Cup coming up soon, it's and then trying to grow the sport, especially trying to grow the sport for the women's sport.
Yes.
Because the men's have, like I said, I know the men's does get a lot of more of the attention and so forth, but we're also trying to grow the women's soccer here. And like I said, U.S. women's national team have had success winning World Cups, but this is not the way you build a program, by having these type of coaches there to do these things, or having administrators to put things under the rugs, or and so forth.
That's even the worst part is like when it came to light, like it almost seemed like a lot of them were using technical roadblocks not to release information before they could formulate a game plan. They were just like, let's make a calculated response in terms of like trying to save face and avoid, more public backlash, or let's see, who cares how you're perceived at this point? Let it all out and fix it. Like, you let it happen under your watch. So you need to be held responsible, like, not necessarily disguise or hide it or hide behind like, legal situations where you don't have to produce, or I produce, just let it all, let's fix it. Like, that's the thing. They need to really get people together to fix it. And it's good that they're talking out, because what's crazy is, if you think about it, these are situations we know about. How many don't we know about that didn't say
Yeah.
anything? And this has been happening for years, or happened to other people. Like, these are the ones who are brave enough to actually step up and say something. That's kind of a wild thing to think about. Like,
Yeah. What do you think, Matt, on that?
I mean, it's like I said in our talks. To me, it's not even to me. I feel like it's not even just the soccer. I believe it's in all sports for US. That's just me. But it's like I said, no, you shouldn't take away that safe space for people. You shouldn't take away the love of something. You should always promote, like you say, positive reinforcement. Get them to want to do better, instead of I have to do better. If not, I'm gonna get such and such consequence. So to me, in the whole U.S. just needs to do better in their sports. That's just,
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm hoping they do. Like I said, fix this mess. Like I said, like Robert mentioned, we don't know what happening on the men's side. They could be, this thing could really blow open, and especially now with the U.S. with the World Cup coming to the U.S. in 4 years. How is that gonna, is that gonna kind of put a black eye on art, into the sport moving forward, being a co-host for this, for this World Cup. And we need to find solutions to fix this, so that way it's not really kind of thrown back in the face of of the U.S. Soccer Federation and so forth. So hopefully they can be able to take care of that. So we'll just leave it on that. Hopefully we can discuss that. Any thoughts for that on that?
And I have a huge thing. Like, I have a daughter. Like, I was thinking, if it was her in that situation and she was treated, oh my God, like it would, no, that even makes you more passionate about the subject. You just hear it and you're like, no. And I don't know. Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I was like, it upsets me. And like, literally, like it makes me want to, say a lot of foul stuff. Like, no, it's not going to happen, So anyways.
So we'll leave that topic there. Hopefully, like I said, things do improve on. Like I'm sure Harry, I know Harry's giving his opinion on it, and I'm sure Royce has his too. So to finish the show, final thoughts. We'll start with Matt. What's your final thought for the week?
Man, we better fill up that dang stadium. We better get everybody in that stadium coming on the 15th and the 28th. Jeez, we already got so much action going on with supporters and just crowds and themselves. Like, hey, I just want to see San Antonio support a team that actually should be in the news. I mean, after y'all both see me on Twitter, just trying to thank certain outlets for just preaching about SAFC, and like I said, I really believe San Antonio should be on a pedestal right now for how far and all these records that we have done. So, congrats to SAFC right now. That's what I want to say.
Robert, your final thoughts?
I mean, the first thing is like, let's go for 6 puntos. 2 more wins. Let's set the record. Let's end the season on a high note. Like you said, bring the energy at the game. Be proud of local. Be proud of your team. Go out and support. Enjoy it. Love it. Have fun. Have a good time. You know, let's do this. Let's continue to keep the energy, keep it positive. And then the cool thing that I've seen lately is I don't know, I'm sure you've caught it, but like even some of our players are getting more and more recognition. Like Tanner was interviewed on Sirius Radio on the USL Access, and then Tanner was on a USL show. So it's cool to see like our players are getting additional, recognition. I saw Far and Tanner were both interviewed by, I think it's like Rudy J or one of those shows. So I mean, just continue to promote it, market it, stay positive. Let's try to fix the systematic issues and love each other and support each other, and let's go.
So, well, my final thought. Well, congratulations to Manly making the USL Team of the Week. So congratulations, one of the good guys is on there. My final thought, like I said, 2 more games. Let's get the record. Let's take care of business at Birmingham, which is another playoff team. A good test for us, which is great. Get us battle tested for the playoffs, and then let's see if we can fill up that stadium, especially that for the final regular season finale, but especially for the playoffs. I want to see like a big crowd like we had 8 years ago for that Scorpions final game. This team really deserves. They've worked their butts off. They've earned our the praise and the respect, and I think we need to give them that.
Yeah,
That
for
it'll
sure.
fill that stadium to give them that the oomph to bring that championship here to San Antonio, which will hopefully we
Absolutely.
can host that title again, and win another title, or here bringing to San Antonio, and maybe we get to run out to the stadium like the last time
Yeah.
8 years ago. And then last thing, like I said, I just want to wish out, thank you to Coach Kano, thank you to Darius for the comments,
Yep.
and also. Happy birthday to my niece. She turns 12 tomorrow, so happy birthday to her, to my niece Emily.
Oh, happy birthday to the guys this past week. Who is
Jordan Farr.
Jordan Farr and
Jordan
Shannon.
Farr,
Yeah. Happy birthday, fellas.
Yeah, happy birthday to you guys. So happy birthday. Maybe I'll give them some cupcakes or something for after the
There you go.
But like I said, I want to thank you, Matt, thank you, Robert, and also thank you, Harry, for being on the show. So hopefully we'll be back to cover for the Birmingham game, highlights for that game, and I like to say, what life without goals. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube.
See y'all later.
Later.